Hello, everyone. Welcome to Golden Circle, a talk show by Rethinking UX, India's largest design community. The future of travel industry is undergoing a profound transformation. It's no longer just about moving people from one place to another. It's about crafting immersive experience that leaves travelers with unforgettable memories. In this era of innovation and ever evolving travelers' expectations, there are boundless opportunities and challenges to explore. Join us for an engaging conversation as we dive deep into the world of travel design with a distinguished leader in the field, Akanksha Singh. She is Director of Experience Design at Expedia. We will uncover UX best practices, what is the role of artificial intelligence, personalization, travel experience design, and much, much more. Hi, Akanksha.
Hello, hi Mayur. All
Hi. Yeah. So it's my privilege to introduce our esteemed guest Akanksha Singh. Akanksha has been in the forefront of crafting exceptional journey for travelers worldwide at Expedia. Our insights into the intersection of UX design and travel sector are invaluable. I am honored to have you today on this show, Akanksha. We all know that you are the custodian of experience design at Expedia. What else the audience should know about who Akanksha is? Because when we last met in the Delhi Convoke, right, someone said you are also an influencer. So, from you, who Akanksha is? Over to you, Akanksha.
well, okay, that's a deep question. I think one first and foremost, I think someone asked me like why design, and
Mhm.
I think my sensibilities or my passion comes from uh, architecture somewhere. I've
Mhm.
studied architecture, and kind of that's where my sensibilities and that's where my passion comes from. Um, Apart from design, what else drives me as an individual is actually travel, which is kind of amazing that I am working for a travel company. I loved traveling for a long time. I've been traveling quite a bit extensively. I've covered like 25 countries, and usually like traveling to unexplored destinations. So I would have visited countries that no one has heard of in India,
Mhm.
or no one generally travels to. I like to kind of do that. And then recently, oops, did you
It's
hear
okay.
my phone as well?
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Where do I
Yes.
start? Where do I start?
You have visited 24 countries, and many of them the Indian audience don't even know about it.
Yeah, so apart from design, what really drives me is actually travel, which is amazing that I'm part of a travel company itself, and I love kind of if both of my passions are kind of wedded together. Um, I visited around 25 countries. I have explored destinations that usually people don't hear about in India. And then recently, around 2 years back, I'm also a new mother. I'm a mother of a baby girl. And I started exploring and hiking in small ways with her at a very young age when she was 2 months old. So like I love that aspect, and that aspect
Yeah.
no one knows too deep about me, but yes, that's what defines me.
Thanks a lot, Akanksha. No, I think uh, what I have learned now is the only thing that you can learn is that you can earn is experience, right? No matter how much you can spend on gadgets or anything which is more physical, right? But what you earn is experience. So, if I ask you one place which you would recommend everyone to visit, being a traveler, right? Which place that would be? And for me, right, across the globe, I have not traveled those many countries, but if I have to keep one which is at the top of the list, right, I'll still keep Leh and Ladakh, which is in India.
Mm-hmm.
It's pristine, right? And
It is
I would
beautiful.
encourage everyone to go and visit as long as it stays pristine, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
so that one place, if you have to like recommend to our audience, which that place would be.
Well, that's Actually, you mentioned Leh Ladakh, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. I think if I have to recommend a place, I would probably kind of go ahead and recommend something that's outside India and something I've recently visited, and that's Uzbekistan.
Hmm.
um, I feel, one, it is a country that's super near and close to us. The flight is just from Delhi to Chennai kind of a flight. So it's super near, it's super beautiful, and our country's roots are embedded in a country like Uzbekistan.
Awesome.
So yeah,
True,
it will be
true.
pretty good.
Awesome. So, like, that's the advice, everyone. You should have Uzbekistan in your list of places to visit. So, Akanksha, coming back to what we do, right? UX design. So, personalization is a buzzword in all industries, including travel industry, right? Can you share some insights into how Expedia approaches personalization experience while respecting user privacy and data security? Because, uh, and why I'm asking this is, I don't remember much has changed in last even 3 4 years, and 3 4 years is a too long a time, right? We open an app, we go, and I won't name any of the app, but we open a travel app, we click on either hotel or flight, and we choose the dates, and then we move ahead, right? uh, Anything that you can throw some light behind the scene what happens, because as an end customer, right, end user, the experience has remained the same except few features has been added. And maybe that is good because we never come to know the nuances behind the scene, right? That is also good because experience is untouched and it's smoothless, like it's like it's a smooth one, right? So anything on personalization, keeping the security and privacy, data security and privacy intact.
Great question. I think I can answer this in context of the team that I am a part of and how we kind of utilize personalization and data to kind of drive some of the value for the travelers as well. Um, so imagine, and I'll just speak about what I do at Expedia, right? Which domain I work for. So I handle the travel insurance and fintech side of products at Expedia,
Mhm.
and design the experiences of those products. Now, anyone who goes to Expedia don't really go there to buy travel insurance, right? They go
Yeah.
there to buy a flight, they go there to buy a hotel. But how we can really create value for those travelers is that you might, as a traveler, feel that you don't need an insurance, or there are, at least what the market research tells us, that there's a large chunk of our travel segment who actually are at the edge. They're like, tell me why I need to buy an insurance. I really
Yeah.
don't know why I need to buy an insurance. So we can use some of the data that we have gathered from the past search history. Like, for example, are they traveling with kids? Are they traveling to a location which is a high risk location in terms of weather conditions? How many days are they traveling? Are they booking a flight that is non refundable?
Mhm.
And like things like these, have they bought an insurance in the past? Are Have they bought any product that kind of offers them flexibility in the past, that we can take some context from? So we basically try and pitch the product, the right kind of product, to the traveler with the right mental model, so
Mhm.
that it really rings a bell with them. this is
Sure.
why you need this is why you would need insurance, or this is why you would need this product. And
Mhm.
when we say this is why you would need it, we really need to understand their needs, right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
so to speak that language, we have to really kind of leverage some of the data that they have given us from the past, and possibly also personalize the data by very small things like recognizing a loyal traveler and telling them
Yeah.
what they have and their benefits, right? So these are the things that we do. There's a lot more that Expedia does, honestly, which I might not be privy of,
Sure.
but these are definitely things that are top of mind.
Sure. Because you touched the insurance in travel, right? And have you seen the data going up or the because of your onboarding? Why insurance, right? Has the data gone up? People are going and buying the insurance. One. Second, have you used insurance as a tool, for retention, right? Because currently what happens is, insurance you buy per trip, right? What if you buy insurance one, and then throughout the year, if you are booking from, let's suppose, Expedia, right? We will
Yes.
take care of your insurance. So that's a big one, but that I have not seen anywhere. Is there a legality or some governance which is stopping it? Because this is a no brainer, right?
Well, it's a very complex space, and it is very legally regulated, right?
Hmm.
So Expedia does not is not an insurance company, right? It sells insurance from insurance providers.
Sure.
Now, if someone buys insurance from us, they are actually buying insurance of a provider that we are hosting on our platform,
Got it.
right? So servicing actually is very tricky aspect of insurance, and what you're talking about is really offering the benefit and the claims and
Yeah.
the second part of
Yeah.
it, so that the customer comes back to us.
Hmm.
Honestly, this is top of mind. This is top of
Hmm.
mind for us. This is top of mind for a lot of even insurance companies as well,
Hmm.
and something that we don't take lightly. So we have some work streams which are completely focused on how do we offer travelers the kind of benefits or the kind of easy interface after they have purchased a product.
Hmm.
um, and just to touch upon a little bit, we have something called as trip care, which is what we do in trip care is, once a person has bought insurance, you
Hmm.
actually post purchase, we simplify the policy for the traveler to a lot of extent, so that they understand the benefits, they understand where they need to go and claim, they understand each and every
Got it.
aspect in a very humane language, not in a legalese term,
Yeah.
so that they really know their product. And I think that's something that we have really done well. What we haven't really touched upon is really the servicing aspect. If someone really has
Sure.
to claim, they still have to go to our partners to claim that.
Cool. No, I think the good thing is, with a brief discussion on insurance, right? I think the audience will have uh, some thought process around, okay, how it works, right? What are the pros and cons, maybe to some extent. Cool. Let's continue this interesting discussion, and the next question is even more interesting. AI, right? AI is increasingly shaping the travel industry, from chatbot to personalized recommendation. How do you see AI's role in UX design evolution? And because it is, the question is to you, especially in travel industry, and what are the key considerations for designers working with AI powered solutions? uh, Now I think it's been almost 6 7 months where everyone is playing around with the AI, chat GPT, and everything else, right? Where we are now, and where we'll be heading, and what the designer should look after to make sure that they should harness the full potential of AI.
Well, so again, there are many takes of different
Yeah.
leaders on this
Yeah.
topic. It's a very hot topic in the industry.
Yeah.
I think overall, how I would propose and how I think AI can kind of really play a big role, especially in the travel industry, especially in a company like Expedia, is to one, I think AI can really help us mime some of the data that we understand from the travelers really well, because
Hmm.
we get so much of data, we get so much of research insights from our travelers, and we spend so much of time in really deriving insights out of that.
Yeah.
What AI can really help us is really expediting that process, making sure that we get the key insights really quickly from our traveler, from the data that we have gathered, and are able to action on it, right?
Yeah.
So that is one piece, and then that's very research focused. um, how designers can leverage AI is one, I think we tend to do, and which is great as well, a lot of discovery before we
Hmm.
come up. We are able to visualize our ideas.
Hmm.
Idea visualization can be cheaper,
Okay.
and AI can really play a role over there. If you have to pitch ideas to your leadership, if you have to pitch presentations to your leadership, I think what looks, and if what looks good sells,
Yeah.
so so really giving a sort of a vision to the ideas and what you're talking about, because when you talk about designs and experiences in words, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. So to really create that, I think leveraging AI can be a big benefit as well. um how else? I think copy for sure, making
Hmm.
sure that your design speaks the right kind of language with the right value to the travelers. So I think all of these areas. And I think recently, I think today I used AI for generating traveler scenarios for creating a workshop. We are
Yeah.
doing a workshop, so we wanted some scenarios that we wanted to work on. Used AI with a couple of prompts and refined it further, and they were ready. I mean, so um, it's powerful to use it
Yeah.
in, like, I think asking the question, can I do this faster by any other way? Like really being intentional about using AI can help for sure.
Yeah. Now, see, like travel, how I look at it, it's a 360 immersive experience, right? End to end, right? It point A to point B, and point A doesn't start from the airport, right? It starts from
Oh
your
yeah.
home, or from your home, or even a month before you even start your journey, right? But still, we'll talk more about the gap areas and other things in the subsequent like questions that I'll throw upon you. But I think AI, it's we have just started, right? I think even the integration is happening as we are talking about it, right? So most like, and we as a designers, right, we need to be at the forefront to make sure that okay, we utilize them, uh, and not to misuse or be against them, right? Because there are tech teams, there are product management team, they'll also be there to help us.
Yes.
Coming Moving on to the next very important one. Any travel plan, right, starts from rating and reviews, right? uh,
Mm-hmm.
the travelers like rely on rating and recommendations. How can the travel industry leverage UX design to build trust and credibility? Because uh, even now, right, because many of the places the rating and reviews are moderated. That's what every organizations talk about it, but that trust is not there, right? People do think that okay, these are fabricated, or uh, uh, like many other things, right? uh,
Mm.
if have you and your team, have you given any thought around it, rating and reviews? And they are important ones, right? If you go to any of the online players, right, people start from there, right? How is the hotel, right? How was the flight journey, or anything else, right?
Yeah.
Anything around this, because you are from travel industry, and rating and reviews, e-commerce and travel, right? The
Yes.
rating and like recommendation plays a major role. So anything around this, Akanksha?
Well, I'm glad that I'm also partly working on reviews. So
Awesome.
I can definitely kind of chime on some of the aspects of how we are building trust through reviews. So one is, uh, when we ask travelers to submit a
Mhm.
review,
Mhm.
how we ask them, and how we kind of talk about that we want their honest opinion, you know in the for the reviews that they've given, and how detailed we want to go in their reviews
Mhm.
is something that helps us get maybe less number of people entering that, but more
Mhm.
quality of data
Yeah.
that we get out of it. So we try and focus on quality and quantity both as a balance, to kind
Okay.
of do that. And all of that, we kind of, when we send in an email, a lot of it is in the copy, a lot of it is in the content of how we kind of solicit that review. Now when the review comes to us, there can be two ways. One is a third party review, like you're talking about, right? Like
Sure.
the ones
Mhm.
that can be taken from any other third party. Another is the reviews that we have generated through past years of collecting it through travelers. Now
Mhm.
all the third party reviews, we have ways to kind of mention to the travelers that this has been externally sourced.
Yeah.
This review is externally sourced. You can kind of click here, know the source of this information and details. Other ways that we use reviews across the site is also even for insurance. I
Yeah.
mean, if someone has bought an insurance and has got a claim, being able to surface how that claim and how that insurance product has benefited someone really helps a traveler to kind of really think about, okay, this makes sense, and not surface the same kind of things over and over again, right? Really
Okay.
build a trust around what that traveler is looking for, what is that personalization that he's looking for, and surfacing something that is relevant to that traveler. Again, it's an
Mm-hmm.
aspect of personalization, but how can you build trust? You can build trust by and travelers and everyone on the internet have limited time in hand. Surfacing something that is really that will ring a bell with them. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
traveling with kids and I've surfaced a review upfront on top that is focused around traveling with
Yeah.
kids, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the kind of trust and the kind of brand, I would say the brand trust that gets built in that
Yeah.
process is really high. So I think we kind of play on even personalization and the quality of reviews to kind of build
Mm-hmm.
that trust with the travelers.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I I'm just thinking what should be the next topic. Okay, uh, the designers now, right? And it's a straight question. Let's suppose if you have to hire a designer, right? What traits you would uh, like to have a UX designer to have? One, uh, let's guide us. Let's suppose if I want to be hired in Expedia, right, as a UX designer, not as a manager, just a like UX designer. uh, what are the best traits that you'd or what are the traits that try to see, uh, and then plan that, okay, this is the best guy or a girl to be hired for Expedia.
uh, I think one is definitely how I, so everyone comes up with this portfolio that has this process
Yeah.
associated with it, right? Like, so all the designers who submit their portfolio have a standard process of going about that portfolio. I think what we look for is really what is the problem that that designer has identified,
Hmm.
and is that problem really being solved, and how many ways did that designer try to solve that problem,
Okay.
you know because if there's this and a lot of times, honestly, it's as simple as that. Lot of times what we have viewed in the portfolio is that there's this standard process that designers follow, but really what the problem never got nailed, and if it did get nailed, um it wasn't really solved
Okay.
towards the end. And
Hmm.
if it was solved, it was only solved with one perspective in view. It was not solved with multiple perspectives, like these are the other things that we could do. Because design is a very it's a very evolving field, and it's an evolving thing, right? Ideas are can come from anywhere. i
Hmm.
I love when the designers listen also. I
Hmm.
love when they are very open to really changing their mental model,
Hmm.
um, and are able to kind of hear and really and I think one of the things that we do in our process is also like just not case study giving back, but really designing with us.
Yeah.
So how do they work in collaboration with everyone in the room, right? What questions do they ask, what are the things
Hmm.
that they want to know before they want to design? And
Hmm.
of course, I think the main thing is also craft. How good they are, how they have, and craft actually kind of comes in multiple forms. I think these days it's definitely around not just around UX design and interaction design and navigation and information architecture, but it's also about visuals. It's also about how much you have tried different ways of approaching a problem, different iterations. What are the ways you approach the craft, right? So craft is pretty high on radar. Although we
Hmm.
have a design system in place,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that craft is not important, right? Like how well you can use the design system and how creative you can be with the design system only comes when you really know your craft well.
And that's the core, right? From there everything starts, although you have a design system, but that's the core. But one thing, the others, follow-up question, what you were saying, uh, do you do you look for a generalist or specialist, T-shaped, or a specialist
It
professional?
really is dependent on what is the need of the time or the hire, right? I think sometimes I feel, and sometimes we do feel the pinch of a specialist.
Hmm.
We do. I think there can be 80-20 rule. There can be
Okay.
like 80% generalist in the team, but
Okay.
20% need to be specialist,
Sure.
because
Sure.
those are the people who will raise the bar for
Yeah.
different skills in the team.
And then eventually for the entire team, because team is
Exactly.
known uh, team is known by the final output, right? It's not one person, it's the entire team. One thing
Exactly.
which I wanted to ask, a follow-up question is, you mentioned in the portfolio, and that is for the benefit of everyone who is like listening to us right now. You did mention that not only one solution but multiple solutions, right? Generally
Yeah.
portfolio is all about showing the best that you had presented, right?
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
but what you are saying is, have one slide or couple of slides showing what all other
We
possible
tried.
solutions were like were ideated, and then the one was picked, right? So that should also be part of it, and not just one and then file and then you move ahead, right? That was the whole intent.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the reason why we expect that is because design really happens that way, right?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you have you start with something, you go, you evolve it further, you evolve it again further, you have like six ideas on the table, and then you pick one,
yeah.
and you pick that one or two basis some logic. I
Hmm.
think what we want to also get at is the logics that you
Sure.
have in place to pick a particular design. That's really important, because eventually you are the custodian of design and you will be autonomously working with product managers. So, how you choose design and how you make a choice is
Hmm.
important as well.
Okay. uh, One more question that I have: when you interview UX designers, right? Irrespective of any level that you are hiring, what do you see them emphasizing more on? Uh, do they emphasize only on experience part, or even the business goal and the metrics and the number? Are
Absolutely.
we as an so? I'm sure like you must be hiring the designers who have the business goal in the mind, the metrics and the data in the mind. But as a industry level, right? Do you see that everyone has some kind of inclination or affinity towards the business goal? What is the number from where we started, where we are moving, or it's just pure experience part of the storytelling?
I think the ecosystem has changed quite a bit in the past few years. People
Hmm.
do understand. I think I receive a lot of portfolios which are very data driven. And they definitely utilize data, they definitely talk about data, they definitely is a way of looking at data to drive decisions in design.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is there. Actually, how you use that data in driving that decision is also important. So although I would say a lot of the designers who have access to data, and again, like, this is a privilege, right?
Yeah,
Because a lot of times a lot of designers work in organization where they don't have access to data.
true.
So I do understand that. But if there are designers who had the privilege to have analysts in their team and who had product managers who could provide them with data, I also admire designers who have the inclination to go ahead and try the tools of data of their own, like
Yep.
just mine the data and all of that. But how you use those data points to really drive decisions, and then
Yeah.
say, okay, this is what I did because we wanted to move the needle from here to here, and this is what the data was telling us from the travelers.
Hmm.
Really, data is a number. it's
Yeah.
it's a range or a number, but how do you attribute that towards behaviors?
Yeah.
So that is very key. But we look for different levels of maturity, right? In that, see, this is, I don't expect a similar level of maturity with all the designers who come in, but yes, and at least an understanding and a potential there. So
Yeah. And I think, as you rightly mentioned, right, the industry, the design teams, right, across organizations, they are maturing, right, and we are, and in all positive way, right. What we did in couple of or what I did in couple of organizations is, in every weekly meeting, right, I used to ask a designer, come back with all the data about your feature and then present it, right.
right.
That's also starting to build that culture of data centricity and data informed, right.
Yes.
Because if other designers see that, okay, someone else has access to it, why not me, right. And the other thing is also consuming, as you like rightly mentioned, right, consuming the data. There is data all around, right. What you do with the data, that's also quite important, right. So
Absolutely.
I think building that culture of outside in and inside out about the data, even
Yes.
while presenting our designs, right, we started
Yes.
from here. What was in mind, what were the metrics and the goal that we were like targeting. I think if we speak that language of data, right, I think the trust starts building within. In the interest of time, and I wanted to touch upon one last important one for all the leaders who are like listening to this talk show. uh, what are the leadership challenges that you face on day-to-day basis, and if you can pick one or two, and how do you try to solve them, right. uh, One is obviously like a design leader being at a strategic level, right, and that strategic discussions happen at a like different level altogether. At Expedia, because it's a global company, right, there are layers and layers, right.
Yeah.
But do you see that as a challenge, and if that is, how do you overcome it, and anything else that comes to your mind? This question I generally throw to all the leaders, because it should not just be a question, but also a solution that should come from it, right. If someone else is doing the right way, right, I think we can also take something and then we can start doing it from tomorrow, and like not to wait for a month or so, right. So anything on those part, Akanksha?
So I think fortunately, and it is true for a lot of design leaders at Expedia, is that we have been a part of a lot of strategic discussions from a very early stage. I would not say from the stage zero, which doesn't make sense, but really when some level of business intelligence has been figured out,
Hmm.
and some level of understanding is there that these are the areas that we want to invest in,
Sure.
right? Because the market is going in this direction, because we know that the trend of the competitors, or through the competitor analysis, through market analysis, because there's a whole business strategy team who does a lot of work around in that area. So
Yeah.
we kind of get an understanding that this is where we want to invest in. Now if we get that understanding, then that work goes to a product director or a senior director to kind of, understand it further and understand, okay, how do we approach the strategy of this direction, of this path, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So in that particular case, definitely experience design and research plays a decent role there. So we are definitely sort of co-authors of the
Hmm.
strategy,
Hmm.
because and what do we bring on the table? To understand, to really fulfill the traveler need aspect into the
Yeah.
document, right?
Hmm.
What is the need here? Why are we going to build something? That question gets answered. To look at the market analysis and the market pyramid that the strategy document has, and say,
Yeah.
okay, for this particular segments, what are the scenarios that work, and then what could be the possible stories around it. So
Sure.
we actually build vision stories for those
Okay.
documents. So the documents no longer just become just a word document where you just read through a lot of features or the path forward, but it has a visual storyline attached to it as well.
And these vision stories are, you build it for the design team, or it is across all, for like for all functions to follow?
So these vision stories are specific to, let's say, if I'm responsible for insurtech, right? So for insurtech, I will build that for a
Hmm.
particular program. There can be another program which will have a different vision story. So these are sub stories of the entire sort of insurtech org that's running inside Expedia, right? So
Got it.
basically, if we have to, if the leadership has to understand, let's say tomorrow, Peter Kern, CEO, comes in, says, "Okay, what are you going to do in 2024?"
Yeah.
So instead of giving him a six-pager document, how
Yeah.
do we concise all of that in a story? And I think that
True.
vision story is something that we really contribute towards. We also brainstorm on what we could do for the travelers, on the features, on the ideas. Everything is like a collaboration with the product manager. Although I do recognize it's a very challenging thing to do. Sometimes product managers are open for that collaboration, and sometimes they are
Mhm.
not open for that collaboration, right?
Yeah.
So I have been on both sides of the spectrum, and I've been lucky to have product managers who have been very open as well.
I know that.
But yeah, yes,
Because both of you presented together in the convoke, right?
yes, and when there are challenges, I think then I would really recommend. This is what I recommend to leaders: is that find those opportunities when you are in those forums, and
Hmm.
like when you are in certain forums, because you will not be absent from everywhere. You will be
Yeah.
present in
Yeah.
some forums. So when you are present in some forums, actually go back, do some homework, come back with something to add on the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if, yeah, just have that problem solving mindset and a bias to action mindset, and come back with with something on the table that rings a bell with the group.
Yeah, with the audience. No, I think it's quite true, and I have started calling it as a UX initiative. Give it a name,
Yes.
right? Every leader or every manager can give it a name, because it is you and your initiative, right? Otherwise it gets diluted. Thanks a lot, Akanksha, for your time. I think it was a great discussion. I know that the time is short. I would have loved to uh, discuss on many thought-provoking topics, but like, thanks for your time. That concludes Rethinking UX, the Golden Circle show. Stay tuned for more inspiring videos and thought leaders from across the globe. Goodbye, goodbye for now, and don't forget to like and subscribe our video to get notified for all future episodes. Thank you, Akanksha, and talk to you
Thank you
soon.
so much for having me.
Thanks, Akanksha.